probably like
protein deficiencies, right? Or like not getting enough nutrients.
All we do is drive around.
I wanted to sit down today and discuss a few things about veganism. Thought this shirt would be perfect. If you guys are interested, this is a shirt by In the SOULSHINE. I will link them down below. They are the cutest t-shirts. They have the cutest little sayings on them. I think you guys would really like them. But anyways, I asked my followers that were vegan to tell me what their least favorite thing about being a vegan was. What they disliked about it or things that they struggled with. And I'm sure that most people watching this are going to think that people said a lot of health issues. Probably like
protein deficiencies, right? Or like not getting enough nutrients.
Most of the answers had absolutely nothing to do with health issues, and you'll be really surprised to see what they were about. Maybe 4 or 5 out of the over 200 answers were about health issues, and they were more so related to outside factors, not so much veganism, but more so like pre-existing conditions and things like that. So I want to just kind of go over the most common. I have them written down here in a few bullet points for each of them that I wanted to go over. So the #1 answer was being made fun of by family and friends for being a vegan, or more so feeling uncomfortable, snarky remarks from people, just people disagreeing with your choices and not in a kind manner. So I haven't really dealt with this one on a deeper level, but I know a lot of people have, and a lot of my clients have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis with their family members, mostly their parents and grandparents probably, as well as their partners. So if their partners disagree with them being vegan or making the vegan choice, they have to cope with that every day. And it seems like it's so hard and depleting because the people that you love most are disagreeing with you and butting heads with you constantly over something that you believe in with your entire heart. And that's just not fun. And it's also very interesting because it seems as well that most of the people that struggle with this were eating really unhealthy diets prior to this, and their family members really didn't have much to say about that. But the moment that they went vegan or went plant-based or started to adopt more vegan and plant-based choices, meaning eating more fruits and vegetables, less junk food, that was the time when their loved ones started to worry about their health. And it's kind of frustrating to be eating so unhealthy and have nobody really notice anything, but then the moment that you do start eating healthier and more plant foods, people start to worry about your health. It kind of contradicts itself there, and people worry like, oh, you know, you don't want to be deficient in certain things, but prior to this they had been eating like candy bars and chips and McDonald's and stuff like that, and nobody really said anything about their deficiencies during that point. So I understand that that can be totally frustrating. What I think is the most important thing about especially new vegans is that if these arguments come about, you have to just shut the conversation down. It's not worth the stress on you or your loved ones or a stranger. It's gonna cause you both stress, and you just don't want that to be, you know, a part of your life. You don't want to use your energy to try to convince someone who's really not into the vegan movement anyways, that veganism is right. So your best bet is to just shut down the conversation, laugh it off, change the subject, something along those lines. Now, if it's someone who is genuinely interested in learning about veganism, they don't have to agree with veganism, they don't have to want to go vegan, but if they're at least have an open mind about it and want to kind of chat about it, just have a conversation that is, like I said, open-minded, calm, relaxed, normal, then go for it. I think that's fun. But it's very hard for vegans, and especially new vegans, to try to convince other people that veganism is right. It's kind of like a waste of energy if you're trying to talk to someone who is really against it. So focus your energy on the people who are for it and the people who support you. Otherwise, kind of just let it be and try and shake it off and change the subject. One of the most common ones was dating and parenting as a vegan. So do vegans only date vegans, and do vegan parents raise their children vegan? Is that like a must? Like, do they have to? And what I think about this one is that it is such a case-by-case situation. I think some people truly feel that they would not be able to tolerate someone who isn't vegan being their partner. I think with this one, it's kind of tough because I've never been in the actual situation, but from my point of view, what I would say is, okay, let's say you meet someone and they are amazing on every single level that you think is right for you. Everything you love and everything you want in a person that you want to start a relationship with, but they're not vegan. Are you going to shut them down and shut them out and say, no, I'm sorry, I can't date you, I can't hang out with you, I can't talk to you because you're not vegan? I think that's unfair because most of us were not vegan. I was not vegan for 20 years of my life. And a lot of people that I know who are vegan weren't raised vegan or brought up vegan. They went vegan when their minds were open to it. So what I would say is to give this person a shot. Give anybody in the world a shot and play it by ear. You never know starting a relationship whether it's going to work out or not. And you never know if that person that you're dating who isn't a vegan, whether they'll go vegan, whether they'll slowly go vegan, whether they'll have an open mind towards it, or whether you will be able to deal with it. Maybe you will be able to date a non-vegan and coexist with each other, and you know, whatever happens happens. If it doesn't end up working out and you start, you know, having conflicting arguments over veganism, then maybe you'll have to end the relationship. But I wouldn't say to completely shut down someone or shut down dating someone simply based off of them not being a vegan. I don't think that's personally fair, and I don't think I would be that way necessarily. Now, if parenting comes into it and you're in a relationship with a non-vegan, or you're both vegan, I can't see two people being vegan and not raising their kids vegan. But anyways, if it comes up that there's conflicting efforts with raising your children vegan, again, this is my personal opinion and I think it varies person to person, but for me, that would be a total no-no. My children will be raised vegan. Again, that's just where my passions lie, and I understand different people believe in different things, and I know that some vegan parents who one parent is vegan and one parent is not, they do raise them somewhat vegan but not all the way vegan, or if the parents are separated, it's hard to have the kids eat vegan when they're with one parent who isn't vegan. So I think it is a different situation for each couple, but for me, that would not essentially work out. Okay, the next one, and this one was actually really common, was watching others, especially your loved ones, still consuming meat and dairy and still supporting, you know, the meat and dairy industries and just all of that stuff. So I vibe with this one big time. A lot of my family have adopted plant-based and vegan habits, but a lot of them are not vegan, and it does hurt seeing them eat unhealthy foods. But it doesn't make me love them any less. It doesn't make me respect them any less. It doesn't make me think any differently of them whatsoever. I think they are amazing people. Everyone in my family is like my best friends, and I would never judge them, just like they never judge me for being a vegan. I never judge them for not being a vegan. We never have ever argued about it. But I come from a really open-minded family. Both of my parents went plant-based vegan about a few years after I did. So I love seeing that. Seeing both of my parents aging in veganism is amazing, to see how healthy they feel and how much they're loving it. Like, it makes me even emotional to think about it, because it's like, wow, they're really doing it. They're taking care of themselves, and to see your parents take care of themselves as they get older is just, you know, you want to see your family healthy and happy. But anyways, so I haven't exactly worked out a way to cope with this one, or something to do to make it not hurt as much. It's just something that I think you need to almost put on the back burner, because you are not there to change their mind. You should not force your habits onto them. You should not argue with them about it. It's the same aspect of someone trying to argue that veganism is wrong. You don't want to be the vegan that argues that veganism is right and that they're wrong, because it's not true. It's whatever each person is at a different path in their journey, and if you're going to push something on them and berate them or belittle them for what they're doing now, that's not going to help whatsoever. So I think the best thing that you can do in that situation is just be a light in their life, to show them how good you feel, how healthy you feel. That's the sole reason why my parents went vegan and why a lot of my family are primarily or more so vegan and plant-based than they've ever been in their entire lives. Not because I have ever forced them to or asked them to or said you should or you need to, simply because I feel really good. I eat a lot of good foods. They like it, they support me, they are open-minded, so they have just kind of tried some things themselves. Now a lot of them don't eat dairy, way less meat, all those kind of good things, and I respect them either way, whether they want to eat all of the meat or none of the meat. I love them just as much. So yeah, I honestly think that people either vibe with veganism and they're ready to take it on, or they're not there yet. Either way, I think that you should respect everyone's decision to be vegan or to not be vegan, and just be a light for veganism by promoting, you know, all the yummy foods and things like that. It's totally worth it to become that relaxed, laid back, fun vegan, because it makes it so much more appealing than some people who, in general, and it doesn't have to just be with veganism, but some people who push their diets so harshly in your face, and you're like, you're not, you know, you don't know what's right for me. Okay, so this is the fourth one, and this one was the number one, I think. I'm pretty sure. It was not enough vegan options when going out to eat. So everyone said, like, for the most part, it was people, it seemed, who lived in areas where veganism is not very popular, which I totally understand, because I have been in a few areas where veganism is not popular, or it's a very small town and there is minimal vegan options. There still is vegan options, of course, because you can eat vegan anywhere with ease, but they aren't exciting and fun and cool and up to date, or just really nothing. Like, you could get like vegetables and a salad at a restaurant, and that's the only vegan option. So I have been to several areas where veganism, and the places that I've settled down traveling, have been the most vegan friendly. I live in a town right outside of Philadelphia, and they have so many vegan options, so many vegan restaurants. So I'm really looking at that aspect, that my hometown itself has a ton of vegan options. So if you are in an area where it's not super vegan friendly, the first thing I would suggest to do is to look up the town or area on Happy Cow. They have a lot of vegan friendly restaurants logged in there. Not all of them, I don't think, but a lot of them. So that's a really good resource to use. It's called Happy Cow. You can also look on like Google or Yelp and things like that for vegan restaurants, and they come up. And the next thing is to just be proactive in yourself. So doing things like, okay, suppose you're going out to eat at a restaurant, you look up the menu, there is a salad on the menu, and that's the only vegan option that they have. Eat big beforehand, so I'm saying eat big beforehand, but you can also bring like grains with you, or ask for them to do steamed rice for you there if they have it. You can put that on top of your salad and bring a really healthy, wholesome dressing, and have yourself a big, dense, amazing salad. You can work with the sides on the menu, so sometimes they won't be marked as vegan, but you can kind of take a peek and see like, oh, they have fries and they have a rice dish that looks like it's vegan. I'll ask if it has butter or dairy in it, vegetables, a salad, something like that. And you can kind of hodgepodge a meal together and make something really good. And then of course they'll have like mashed avocado or hummus, or different vinegars or different dressings that are probably vegan. You can ask for those on the side. Another option is to call ahead. So if you call ahead, most restaurants will cater to you. So you can say, hey, I'm vegan, I'm coming in for dinner tonight. Do you guys have like anything that you can make on hand, like, you know, that's vegan friendly? Or, you know, sometimes it's better to say that you have an allergy to dairy. That usually works. Like, you can say, I'm a vegetarian, I have an allergy to dairy. What are the options for me? And the last option for that one would be to eat more at home. Simply start making more food at home, or inviting people over for dinner at your house. It's a lot cheaper, and you won't have to deal with that as much. I know a lot of people go out to eat, so that's not like the answer to your problem, but it is an answer to kind of lessening that impact. So let's say you're going out to eat once or twice every single day. Try not doing that. Try, you know, making it like once or twice a week instead, and cooking more at home, or inviting friends more over to your house to cook, or things like that. It becomes a lot more cost effective than eating out. All right, and number 5, there was just a lot of stigmas. So a lot of people named those common stigmas that everyone points out to vegans, that every vegan is like rolling their eyes, like, are you still saying that? I only wrote down a few of them, but I wrote down the biggest ones that were most common. So of course, first off is protein deficiency. Everyone thinking that we are going to become deficient in protein. So protein deficiency really only exists in third world countries where starvation and malnourishment is widespread, where they don't have access to even a clean glass of drinking water. We have access to all kinds of plants, from refined prepackaged junk food veganism to whole foods, plant-based. At the grocery store, you have access to every fruit and vegetable that your heart could desire, frozen or fresh. We do not have and will not have protein deficiency in the United States or any country that is progressively, I don't even know what the right word to describe it as, but we are not a depleted country without access to wholesome foods. So another point to make is that some of the strongest animals on this planet are vegan. Animals like gorillas, rhinos, elephant, bison, horses. So those animals are herbivores and they only eat plants. That's it. And they are the strongest animals ever. I mean, think of a gorilla. A gorilla has so much muscle mass, eats no animals, no flesh, no dairy, just plants. So the next stigma is that our food is boring, that we only eat like lettuce and carrots and rabbit food, and people say things like, well, don't you miss bacon? Don't you miss burgers? Don't you miss ice cream? Or things like that. And that right there, I don't even need words. I can just simply show you this.
Who we wanna be, trying to just breathe and be carefree, baby, you and me. Head up in the stars, driving fast cars, feeling like we're outlaws with our deep scars and our fast cars.
And then also I want to point out the fact that as a vegan, the thought of animal flesh and cow's milk, it changes, you know what I mean? You think of it as just that, flesh and breast milk, and it just kind of is like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Before, I never really thought about it, I just ate it. Now I'm like, what the, why would it, like, now it just does not line, it literally doesn't line up in my head. Like, I think about it and I'm like, that is so weird. Why do people do that? Why did I do that? So we don't miss animal flesh and breast milk. And again, like I showed you before, even if we did, there's so many vegan options that are so similar. Like, there's some freakishly real meat products out there. I don't go for those very often. Once in a while we'll try like a new fun one. Damon kind of likes them more than I do. You will never miss meat or dairy, I promise you. The next one was that veganism is an eating disorder. So I have a few things to say on this. First, I have to say that of course veganism is not an eating disorder. Veganism is simply the idea of not harming animals and not eating them. That is what veganism is. Now, do people use veganism as an eating disorder? Yes, 100%. I've seen it a bajillion times, and most of those people are not vegan anymore. Simply because they were never vegan, they were using the vegan lifestyle as an eating disorder, which is very easy to do because you can manipulate any diet to be an eating disorder. You can undereat, you can use it, you know, in all different ways and manipulate it. Eating disorders are manipulative and they're very easy to, you can kind of use any lifestyle or any new diet to kind of hide your eating disorder. That being said, again, veganism itself is not an eating disorder. You will and should get every single micro and macronutrient from whole plant foods as long as you're eating enough. It's not restrictive, you aren't missing anything, the flavors are all there, the food is delicious. So again, it's more so, if you have an eating disorder, yes, you can use veganism as an eating disorder, but you can also use paleo and low carb and vegetarianism. I don't know, you can use any type of lifestyle as an eating disorder. Next up, if you don't drink cow's milk, you will have a calcium deficiency. There are so many calcium-rich plant foods out there, and I think people just don't understand that if you did do just like even the tiniest little Google search, you would understand that every plant food has every nutrient that you can think of. Like lentils and beans, dark leafy greens, nuts and seeds, and then plant milks. There's plant milks that are fortified with more calcium than what is in cow's milk. So at the end of the day, that stigma right there, it kind of is just misinformation and uneducation. You're not educated, you didn't do your research properly. So yes, calcium deficiency, again, does not exist unless you are not eating the right foods and eating enough of them, and that goes for any lifestyle. And last, but certainly not least, the last stigma that I want to go over is that veganism is too expensive. So many people say that veganism is expensive, and that blows my mind because it is far easier to eat a plant-based diet on a budget than it is to eat a meat and dairy-based diet. Meat and dairy is like 4 times as expensive as the plant foods that are budget friendly. If you are on a budget, you know, and eating out 7 times a week, whether it's vegan or not, it's gonna be expensive. The cheapest foods available in the world are the foods that plant-based vegans eat every day, the bulk of their diet. So that would be like potatoes and rice and oatmeal, and seasonal fruits and legumes and beans. They are dirt cheap. So not only are those the cheapest foods, but they are also the healthiest foods in comparison to meat and dairy. So healthy and cheap. All right, so I want to know, what did you guys think about that? Did you enjoy that? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with what I said? I want to know what you think. Leave your comments down below. If I missed some of the bigger struggles of being a vegan, you can leave them down in the comments. I am so happy. I am so healthy. I am the healthiest I have ever been, and I have been on all different kinds of diets. Unhealthy, healthy, you know, all of them. I've done it all, and I have struggled so hard, especially with digestion and mental health. And this is freedom right here. Living vegan and living plant-based is freedom. It's freedom, it's peace, it's love for all animals. It is sustainable. It is something that I feel so passionate about, and that 5 years in, my passion only grows for it. So I never get sick of it. I don't want to stop. I don't feel deprived. I feel more and more full of life and happiness and health every single month that I'm vegan. I learn new things every single day about veganism, about myself, about healing, and I truly just think that everyone deserves to be this happy. Everyone deserves to feel this freedom with food, and this freedom with your body, and this energy and good digestion, and just all of the benefits. The benefits outweigh any, you know, any bullying that I've ever received for being a vegan. I really hope that, you know, over the next 20 years, more and more people go vegan, more and more people understand this movement and just see exactly what we're trying to promote, that we are not trying to do anything in this vegan movement other than help each other, help the animals, and help the environment. Like that's literally all we're trying to do. I can't do that. I have to stop crying. Why do I always get so emotional in like every video? It's very interesting. Okay, anyways, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following along my little journey. I hope you loved this video. If you did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, and I'll see you very soon. I love you guys.